my OpenClaw setup. There's no cost to me since I'm running an open source large language model on my own PC. In this video, I'll show you how to get that set up. This lets you run OpenClaw on your own schedule for as long as you want with no extra bill. Since you're running your own model, you won't need tokens from tools like Claude or ChatGPT. We'll start by installing Ollama and a local AI model to run on our PC. Let's get started on this right now. Go to Google and look up the word Ollama. This is a software that runs our open source large language models locally on our own PC. It runs on any OS. You can install a desktop app, but I'm going to go with the traditional method. That's through a terminal. It's just about 100 megabytes and will download super fast. It's installed now. Let's open it, go to your apps, or just search for Ollama in the quick search. It should end up looking roughly like this. Since we don't have any models yet to use, we're going to pick one to download. You've got a bunch of different choices here, but this isn't the best way to search for or download models. I actually prefer to use the website, so head to models over here, and from here, you can filter models by newest, most popular, along with things like thinking, tools, and vision. My current favorite is Qwen 3.5 because it's a versatile model that seems to work all round. So to get this up and running on Ollama, all you need to do in the terminal is run Ollama, run Qwen 3.5. Let's drop this in. This will proceed to download that large language model and then start letting you prompt with it through the terminal. You can also throw the prompt right through the app, so just open the Ollama app and head over here. Make sure you've got Qwen 3.5 selected. You can chat with it kind of like you would with ChatGPT. Watch out, these open source models can range in size from 1 billion to 120 billion parameters. But that doesn't mean you'll be able to run them all on your PC. You should know exactly how much memory your computer can handle. And this way you'll see which models you can run right now. I'm running on a Mac with 64 gigs of physical memory and using the baseline version of Qwen 3.5, that's 9 billion parameters, or 6.6 gigs of physical memory, depending on my memory capacity. I can actually switch to the 35 billion parameter model, which uses 24 gigs of memory. It'll take a bit longer to download, but it'll give you way better results whenever you prompt it. I wish I could switch to the 122 billion parameter model, but this is going to use 81 gigs of memory. And I just don't have the resources to run the cloud version of Qwen 3.5, which actually uses 397 billion parameters. So it really shows how these cloud models are extra large. And that's why the results are often much better than when running locally. Part 2, we're going to hook OpenClaw up to Ollama. There are two ways to do this, depending on whether you're installing OpenClaw for the very first time, or if you've already got it installed and want to switch over to a local model. Let's kick things off with the easiest method, a fresh install straight from the official OpenClaw website. Scroll down to the installation step here, which you can do via the terminal. Copy this line of code and then use the quick launch options. Look up terminal.app to open this terminal where you can paste that code line. When you press enter, it'll kick off the installation for OpenClaw. This will run in the background for a couple of minutes, and once it's ready to finalize, it'll have you kick off the setup process. Double check the first question right here. I'm just going to put in yes, I'm using this for my personal use. Then after that, use the quick start method to now select our local model. Here you can spot plenty of models from companies like OpenAI and Anthropic. But we're going to scroll up here to the Ollama option. Next, you'll want to check your IP and port for Ollama, and this is the default port, so you don't need to change that. In the end, I'm picking Ollama mode because I only want to run local models, so I'll set this option to local. Lastly, we'll have to pick the model we're going to use for OpenClaw. As you can tell, I've downloaded a few models here for Ollama, but if you're doing this, you should just check out Qwen 3.5 latest. So let's use that. The next few steps are just to set up OpenClaw like normal. This involves setting up a messaging channel, plus maybe a search provider and some skills. And if you want to learn a bit more about these, then I've got a whole different video specifically for that. But for this example here, I'll just skip most of it to get OpenClaw up and running, so you can see it in action for our last step. We'll decide if we want to use it via the terminal or through the web UI. I personally like the web UI, so I'm going to select that, and there we go. We're now up and running with OpenClaw. Let's see how this works using our local open source model. And there we go. Seems like it's responding from this point on. You can use OpenClaw the same way, asking it to set up routines as well as skills. and get started with cron jobs so it runs different tasks every minute, hour, or day. I've got a pretty cool video showing the top 10 ways to use OpenClaw that you can check out here. But before we move forward, let's actually check out the second option just in case you already have OpenClaw installed. So you want to switch from a cloud LLM to a local model running on Ollama. The steps will be pretty much the same. I'll need you to install Ollama, but the next step is to tweak its config so it connects up to Ambal, the local model. Let's do that now on the Ollama website by heading over to the model section and choose the model you want to connect to. This should be a model you've already installed. In this example, I'll use Qwen 3.5. Down here you have some app settings. We've got one here for OpenClaw. I'll copy this command so we can paste it into our terminal. Let me paste this in now that's done. That's basically all there is. This is the setup already pre-configured in Ollama to connect to OpenClaw. Let's go ahead and test OpenClaw to ensure everything is running smoothly. And it seems that's working in the terminal too. Seems to be working in both the terminal and the web UI. If you ever want to see or check which model you're currently using, you can go to the very top in OpenClaw to take a look at those. The last thing I want to show you is how to link your apps and services straight to OpenClaw, but through an intermediary on the back itself. Many folks link them up via APIs, yet one of the top ways to get it done is through MCP. And for this, I'll be using a Zapier. How to link OpenClaw to Zapier, simply by asking Oscar how to set up the Zapier MCP. It'll give you some instructions, so let's go ahead and do those now. We'll want to go to this link, mcp.zapier.com. Next, click to set up a new MCV server. Scroll down and pick the other option. Right now, I just want to run some tests, so I'll only hook it up to Gmail to find emails, and maybe also make drafts. I don't want it to start deleting or sending emails on my behalf. The upside: you get slightly finer control over which apps you allow. Make use of OpenClaw. Now to get the connection, I'll generate a token instead of me manually setting this up like a programmer. I'll just copy and paste all this stuff right into OpenClaw and hope it sets everything up for me. And after a few seconds, here's the response. Everything is configured. It also has the tools I've granted access to, like pulling in emails and making drafts. Let me check that this works by fetching the latest 5 emails from my inbox. And here they're shown in a clean chat. I hope you all like this video, especially when no one's clapping. I definitely suggest checking out my use cases for OpenClaw as well as my crash course if you want to learn more regarding that. Also, if you'd like more OpenClaw videos, tell me what topics to cover. Finally, a huge shout out to Zapier for sponsoring this video. If you want to learn more about them, definitely check them out in the link in the description below.